Hey, Turin Stevenson here for the Turin Stevenson Leadership Channel. In this episode, we're going to be talking about winning people over even when they disagree with you. Come on, let's get into it. Okay, in this episode, we're talking about how to win people over even when they disagree with you. And I'm going to give you 4 tips on how you can do this effectively. As always, this episode is brought to you by my free goal setting guide, and you can check that out in the link below. All right, so why is it important to learn these skills? Well, I have found that many times the people that follow you don't always agree with you. And if you are in the habit of just riding roughshod over your people and not even if they disagree with you, rather than taking the time to win them over, what you will find over time is they will start to resent you and they will become disloyal to you, or they'll leave you. So you need to win people over even when they disagree with you. And this is a bit of an art. And so I want to give you 4 tips on how you can do this effectively. The first thing is this. You have to develop an agreeable nature. Some people by nature, have a very disagreeable nature. They're antagonistic, they're argumentative, they like to argue about everything. If you say the sky is blue, they'll say it's purple, and it wouldn't even matter if it was or not. And look, I used to be like this as a younger man in my 20s. I was pretty disagreeable. I thought I knew a lot. I was pretty arrogant. And so I tended to just look for ways to disagree with people. And if people were talking or they were saying something I didn't like, I would just jump in with my argument. I would cut them off. I would shut them down. And what I found was people didn't want to listen to my opinions. They weren't interested in my opinions because I was so disagreeable by nature. And so what I had to do was I had to learn to be agreeable. What that means is it doesn't mean you agree with people all the time. What it means is you don't immediately look for a way to challenge people. Just shut your mouth and let people express what they need to express. You don't have to always agree with people to listen to them. And so if you can be a good listener, and I've talked about this in previous videos and episodes, then what you'll find is that you will learn more and you'll hear better ideas and you will get a more well-rounded perspective on things if you just learn not to be disagreeable. You don't have to fight about everything. You don't always have to be right. You don't always have to argue. You can sometimes just listen and hear people out. So develop an agreeable nature is the first thing. The second thing is listen well before you actually disagree. And so even if what you're hearing is not intuitively what you would go with or you disagree with, don't jump in with, no, sorry, I disagree. Or don't jump in with your argument. Stop and just let them talk. Just let them talk. Just nod your head, indicate that you're listening to them, ask questions about what they're saying, understand deeply what they're trying to express to you, because you may be disagreeing with the way that they're communicating it because you don't fully understand what they're saying. And if you take the time to fully understand, you may find that you don't disagree with them. But don't disagree before fully and deeply listening to people. And you don't have to jump in with your disagreement. I'll tell you when you can actually express your disagreement, and it's not when people first express themselves. Just hold your tongue, listen, ask other people if they have the same opinion, ask other people what they think of the situation, allow people to talk first. The third thing is this. When you get to the point where you are ready to, engage with what they're saying, listen long enough and ask enough questions that they actually want to hear your opinion. So if you've stayed silent for long enough and you've asked enough questions about what they're saying, sooner or later, that person will actually respond by saying, okay, so what do you think? If you've kept your mouth closed and you've not started arguments and you've not jumped in and disagreed, people will want to hear what you think. They will say, well, they want to know if you've agreed with them, because to this point, you haven't said anything. You've just listened and you've tried to understand. And so sooner or later, they're going to say, well, what do you think? Do you agree with me? When people invite you to give an opinion, they are more likely to listen to your opinion. And this is why I say don't jump in with an argument and don't jump in with your disagreement, because if you listen intently and people invite you to give your opinion, they're more likely to hear you out. And that's what you really need. You want people to hear you out so that they will actually take just as much consideration of your perspective as you have of their perspective. And they may still disagree with you, but they will listen to you rather than argue with you if you just wait for them to invite you to give an opinion. The last thing is this, and this is really where you can state your opinion clearly. If they've invited you to do so, the first thing you need to do is don't lead with, I disagree with you. Okay, don't lead with that. Lead with, I hear what you've said. I acknowledge these facts of your argument, and I agree with these aspects. So find the points of agreement with them first. Before you get into your disagreement, find the points of agreement, find the points of common interest. Acknowledge that you listened to them, you heard them, I understand what you're saying. If they've expressed emotion or feeling, I understand how you feel, and I understand why you've said what you've said. I have some concerns. This is how you lead for your disagreement. I have some concerns, or I have some other things I'd like to raise in regard to this, if I may. By saying if I may, what you're doing is you're asking them permission, and they're like, okay, they're going to be tuned into you. They're going to say, okay, he heard me, he listened to me, he agrees with some of what I'm saying, but now I need to listen to what he disagrees with. And so then you express yourself. Try to keep emotion out of it. Try to keep it fact-based. Try to give a clear and persuasive argument that is not based on emotive ideas. Try and keep it really concrete, really easy to understand, and try to offer solutions. Don't just offer objections. Don't just say, I don't like this. Say, look, I'm concerned about this. What if we did that? And give an alternative solution. And then you ask them to give feedback on your response. So you've stated your case. You've acknowledged the things that you agreed with. You've acknowledged their emotion, their feelings about the situation. Then you come back with your stated response. And then the final thing is, okay, so tell me, what do you think about what I've said? Now, very often, if you've got a well thought out response and you have good reasoning for your response and you've acknowledged their concerns, very often people will start to see things your way. Now, what you might find is you'll have to have a bit of negotiation. You might have to be a bit flexible. You might have to say, okay, well, what if we did this? I understand you've got concerns in this area. Let's change the plan slightly here, but over here, I'd like to go with what I'm suggesting. And if you can come to compromises, you can negotiate that everybody feels like they're winning or they're getting a win out of the situation, you will very often find that people want to go along with you. So that's the 4 ways that I think you can win people over even when they disagree with you. And I think it's a really important skill to have as a leader. You don't want to just barrel over people because you disagree with them or they don't agree with you. It doesn't win you any friends, and it doesn't give you any influence with people. So take the time to develop an agreeable nature. Don't be argumentative all the time. Take the time to listen well before you express your disagreement. Don't just respond. Wait until they ask for your opinion. So keep asking questions, keep engaging with them until they say, what do you think? Or do you agree with me? And then once they do invite you for your opinion, show them the points of commonality, the points of connection, and then state your argument with clear facts and solutions, and try to keep it limited emotionally, and then ask for their feedback on your stated opinion. You may have to negotiate a bit, but I think you'll find that you'll win more people over, and you'll actually find that they want to go along with you rather than fighting you on every decision you have to make. I hope that was really helpful for you. If you'd like to go deeper on this and many other topics in leadership, why don't you check out our Leading for Success video course. It's a comprehensive video course, self-paced, that you can access with the link below. And if you've enjoyed this, why don't you hit the subscribe button and share it with somebody that you think is going to benefit. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a comment, give us a like, and see you next time. I'm Tarun Stevenson for the Leadership Channel.